Hello everybody and welcome in, so glad to see you guys. We are a few weeks away from the very important midterms. If the Republicans win, it will be a referendum on Joe Biden's presidency and make him a lame duck president. If they lose, well, Democrats maintain their control. In the last month, election coverage from election forecasters, yes, I'm looking at you 538, and from the mainstream media was how Democrats may actually maintain their control of Congress. After all, in late August and September, Democrats relied heavily on their talking points of abortion, guns, and as well as calling Republicans far right in order to push voters into voting for the Democrats. But oh wait! That's changed! According to the RCP, the Republicans now have a 3-point lead in the generic ballot after being down, which, by the way, is more than enough to take back both the House and the Senate. To put that into context, even if the Republicans were to have a 0-point lead in the generic ballot, they would still take back control of the House just because of President Biden's approval rating alone. So really, there should be no reason the GOP is panicking. And yet, the GOP is still panicking, and this comes as news to legacy media. Even the New York Times is now admitting, yeah, some things aren't right. Why are we even shocked it occurred? Historically, for Republicans, the generic ballot tightens as we near November. If you take a look at the generic ballot in history, in 2014, Republicans became super competitive after a terrible stint during late August and early September. In 2010, Republicans surged after a terrible early summer. People are gonna say, the pollsters and the election predictors are correct. How dare you doubt them? Yeah. But only when Republicans actually surge closer to election day do election predictors and pollsters turn around and say, whoops, it's not a blue wave after all. But hey, remember when we said it was a blue wave or whatever? Yeah, forget that. History repeats itself. Democrats were super close and competitive in August and September. Now they're not. The fact that it's such a surge is happening and should not be a surprise at all. But the most surprising thing is this. Republicans are doing as well as they were in February, which, to put it into context, was around the time when Russia invaded Ukraine and when Joe Biden's unpopularity was at its peak. Back then, Republicans were favored to sweep the key swing states. Remember Glenn Youngkin and how shocking it was when he won his governorship and how every media outlet predicted a massive red wave? Yeah. That was the environment at the time. It doesn't look good for the Democrats running for Congress. Can the Democrats really win in an environment that's as favorable to the Republicans as this one? As it is, Joe Biden's approval rating is not helping their case, with around 50 to 55% of Americans expressing their disapproval of the president. By connecting issues like inflation, the economy, and crime to the former president and at large, the entire Democratic Party, the Republicans are making gains with undecided voters, who will be the key determiners of the midterms. Currently, undecided voters are breaking to the GOP 2-1, which puts the GOP in a very powerful position to retake both chambers of Congress. Most importantly, key Senate races are slowly breaking for the GOP. In Wisconsin and Nevada, Republicans are almost guaranteed to win the Senate races there. In Georgia, Herschel Walker slowly matches with Raphael Warnock. Over in Ohio, J.D. Vance has the potential to win his race by over 9 to 10 points if needed. And shockingly enough, Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania surges after being behind by 7 points, to where he is now, which is 1 to 2 points behind John Fetterman. And this isn't even the worst part for the Democrats. As it turns out, polls typically overestimate Democrats, and especially in the Rust Belt states. So what should we expect? A terrible night for the Republicans will be around 50 seats. A spectacular night for the Republicans, on the other hand, will be around 55 Senate seats. But to do that, Republicans will have to win Senate seats in either Colorado, New Hampshire, or even Washington, all of which are very unlikely. Either way, the Republicans look very good heading into November, despite what the mainstream election media may say. Do not underestimate the potential red wave that will hit the midterms in 2022. One of the more competitive and exciting races will be the race in Georgia, where Herschel Walker faces an uphill battle against Raphael Warnock, who is now suddenly 8 points underwater, while struggling to even crack 50% in the polling. Terrible news for the incumbent. Terrible news. And I explain all of that in this video. As always, guys, peace.